for a key meeting of all its legislators in order to take stock of the situation in any way. We are seeing the kind of drama that unfolded in the Shinde faction because hardly any leaders were taken on board when it was decided that Ajit Pawar will join the current government at a time when the BJP has 105 sitting MLAs and hardly any substantial role in the current cabinet. It is expected that there will be a lot of disgruntlement from within the BJP rank and file and the BJP MLAs as well, at a time when the NCP has already been accommodated and has been given 9 cabinet portfolios on the
Absolutely. So all these deliberations before the big cabinet expansion that is expected, and for that BJP too is in a huddle. We'll leave it at that. Vinaya, thank you so much for getting us all the inputs. With that, it's a wrap from my side. My colleague Poonam is joining you on the other side with The Nation at 5.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. There seems to be a lot of anti-India rhetoric that's doing the rounds, especially in certain countries like the United Kingdom. The United States, Canada is one of those countries where we are feeling the heat, and the heat is being felt not just by Indian diplomats, but also by those countries that have to ensure that this kind of free run to separatist elements does not continue. Which is why today we saw Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau come out for the first time and respond to the threats that India has been facing, Indian diplomats have been facing. Listen in to what Justin Trudeau had to say about the free run that seems to be going around as far as Khalistani separatist elements go in his country.
They are wrong. Canada has always taken extremely seriously violence and threats of violence. We've always taken serious action against terrorism, and we always will.
Now, Justin Trudeau says they are wrong. What does he mean? He, in fact, is hinting at India being wrong. Here's why. S. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister of India, just 2 days ago had called out Canada. He said, we know why Canada is not acting. We know why Canada is going slow against these elements. It's all because they're pandering to a certain vote bank. It's their compulsion, is what External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said. This is not the first time India has called out this kind of go slow on these elements in countries like Canada. Listen in to this message that S. Jaishankar, our External Affairs Minister, had sent out not just to Canada but to all the countries that haven't been acting against these elements in the recent past.
We are at a loss to understand, other than the requirements of vote bank politics, why anybody would do this. Because if you look at their history, I mean, you would imagine that they learn by the history and they wouldn't like to repeat that history.
We made it very clear, and I've done so sometimes even in public, which is that, if there are activities which are permitted from Canada, which impinge on our sovereignty, territorial integrity, on our security, then, I mean, we will have to respond.
हमने उनको रिक्वेस्ट की है कि वो उनको खालिस्तानियों को स्पेस न दें, क्योंकि जो उनकी सोच जो है ये रैडिकल एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा जो है वो ना हमारे लिए अच्छा है, ना उनके लिए है, ना हमारे रिश्तों के लिए.
It is a matter of concern that freedom of expression and speech is once again being misused by anti-India elements based in Canada and elsewhere. And we continue to press the Canadian side to ensure that our diplomats can carry out their normal functions without fear or intimidation. We have seen some comments, at least the media reports about comments by Prime Minister Trudeau. But let me make the larger point that the issue is not about freedom of expression, but its misuse for advocating violence, for propagating separatism, and for legitimizing terrorism.
When will this free run to elements like these end? That's the question India is asking. That's the question New Delhi is also asking to all of these countries, including Canada, which is why we saw Justin Trudeau actually feel the heat. When is all of this going to end, though? That is the big question. And joining me on this broadcast is former diplomat Ashok Sajanhar, defense expert Colonel Dinesh Nayan, also joining us on this broadcast. And Colonel, I'd like to begin by asking you, we've seen these kind of instances take place in multiple countries, including Canada. Covertly, overtly, there seems to be a lobby within the power corridors of Canada that wants to keep pandering to these kind of elements. Do you think so?
See, the various countries are trying to, act against India directly or indirectly. And the top of in the top list comes the ISI. And if you see, whereas the Canada is concerned, the population of Khalsa people, you can say the Sikhs in Canada, now has tremendously increased because a lot of migration has taken place from here. And most of the political seats of the Canada are being influenced by these guys. Now, I'm not saying that all the Sikhs who have gone to Canada are Khalistanis, but definitely Khalistani people who are trying to disrupt or you can say defame India or strike at us sitting abroad coolly with the help of ISI and other type of agencies, I'm sure that Canada became a kind of a hub for them. But what I say is, why don't you make Khalistan within Canada itself then? If you're so fond of Khalistan and let the president of Canada feel the heat. As far as the ISI is concerned, yes, whether it is France, whether it is Canada, whether it is USA, or you can say even in Pakistan, and some people are sleeping cells in India. ISI is always being in this kind of an endeavor that they want India to be, like we have broken their eastern Pakistan to Bangladesh. They are into that kind of a, dreams that someday either Jammu or Kashmir or Khalistan, K2, that's what the plan these people have got. So they are funding them. And we are seeing all this nonsense going around. But recently, the way Nijar, Khanda, and other people, even we're getting the news about Gurpatwant Singh Pannu getting killed into road accident, and all these people, the top leadership, coolly within the last 6 to 8 months, I think 80% of them have gone. So what India is doing or somebody else is doing, people are saying because Mossad chief came to India, met Dovel, NSA Dovel, and then they must have planned something like what Mossad kind of actions. So India's RAW is doing it or something. But then there can be different angle too. Well, ISI trained these guys. Maybe ISI is afraid now that these guys now, when opening their mouth too much, whether in Canada or the Pannu like was telling that he's going to have a referendum now in Canada. And what referendum? 700 people? 500
Absolutely.
people?
These kind of referendums have been taking place not just in Canada, we've seen it in Australia as well. Now, these are countries that are hosting these referendums for a separate Khalistan, carving part of India, which is an ally. Ashok Sajjanhar, which is why I want to ask you, diplomatically, how can we tighten screws further to ensure that this does not repeat?
I think we really have to, read the Riot Act to these countries. And I would imagine, Poonam, that Canada is a sui generis case because, these such incidents, such violent demonstrations, etc., and such violent actions have been taking place in many countries. It is not only Canada, it is also the United States. We have seen our consulate general in San Francisco being, attempts being made to burn that. We have seen graffiti in Australia, also in the United Kingdom. What happened outside our High Commission when one of the Khalistani supporters, ran up and tried to dislodge our tricolor. So it is happening in other places, but I think it is the most serious as far as Canada is concerned, because there they are a part of the government. There are many sort of, people who have proclivities, predilection towards towards Khalistan. They are part of the government. Their actions are like that. And of course, as far as the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau himself is concerned, he is extremely soft as far as the Khalistanis are concerned. You would recall even when the protests in India on the farm laws were taking place, and there were reports that some Khalistanis were involved in that. What are the sort of messages that were coming out of Canada? So to respond to your question, we really have to turn the screws. We have to tell these countries that, whatever is happening there, it is not only harmful for India, that of course it is, but it is more harmful for those countries themselves because it will breed violence, and it will also have a very damaging impact upon the bilateral relations between India and that country. And I think we really have to keep on, keep the heat on these countries. We have to see in terms of what are our trade relations, how are things going. You would recall, Poonam, when something similar had happened as far as Malaysia is concerned. We stopped import of palm oil from there, and it had an immediate impact on the attitude of the Malaysian government. So here, I'm not saying that as far as, the United States or Australia, I think those governments are definitely with India in terms of trying to deal with this issue. They also don't like it. And in San Francisco, we have seen statements that have been emanating. They have taken criminal cognizance of it, that these are criminal cases, what they have been trying to do. And they have said that they are not going to mix it up with the issue of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But these protests are criminal actions and criminal, they will be charged.
Drawn, like the United States also has. Ashok Sajjana, which is why I want to ask you. Remember, in case of Australia, at least, we're seeing now that there has been a dip in cases after perhaps the Prime Minister himself took this issue up with his counterpart. We had Anthony Albanese come here in India. They had a bilateral. We had then the Prime Minister go to Australia, and this issue particularly came up. So then do you think until it is brought up at the highest level like that of the Prime Minister, we perhaps cannot expect any action as far as Canada goes?
No, I think we have to sort of, gradually up the ante as far as these countries are concerned. And the, External Affairs Minister has spoken out very clearly. You just showed that clip on the 3rd of July when he's speaking to people, and he said that, we are going to raise this issue. And definitely when our embassies and high commissions raise the issue, and if it does not have a salutary impact, Poonam, then of course we'll have to increase the level at which we are, taking it up. But you are right, because it started happening with the, tremendous frequency and regularity in Australia, and the Australian Prime Minister happened to be in Delhi. The Prime Minister raised it. But it will need to be done. As you have seen, the cognizance of this has been taken by Justin Trudeau himself. And I think that is the worst. Canada, in my view, is the worst offender, because most of these cases have been happening there, and we have seen that
and the fact
Khalistanis
that he is in a minority government, the kind of support he has to even stay in government is something that is of extreme importance, which is also what S. Jaishankar pointed out. And Colonel Nain, I want to ask you before I wrap this discussion up, as far as Canada goes now, 2 days from now, on Saturday, on the 8th, is when we have a call for a march in different countries, including Canada, where they want to march against India, against the Indian missions there. In fact, there are these posters that have been put out where diplomats have been singled out. The consular generals in these countries have been singled out. Their names and pictures have been put on those posters, calling for a separate Khalistan, and those are being circulated widely. So when Justin Trudeau comes out and says that we have always been taking action and we'll take action, where is the action?
See, Poonam, Justin Trudeau cannot do much. What I personally feel is, unless and until we really tighten the screws, because Canada politics are basically now, in a large extent, influenced by the Sikhs there, number one. Then secondly, whether it was Khalistan Tiger Force or Good Prathans in Pannu's plan of actions or area of operation, or other Khalistani, these extremist forces, they all have their headquarters based in Canada. And these people obviously over there, having a large number of Sikhs around, are trying to take disadvantage of the freedom of speech, or you can say freedom of expression. Now the government of Canada has to take action, and because when our MEA has already conveyed to them and said that India will not tolerate flags being pulled down, or any kind of an action which is against India, I'm sure that some kind of a serious and strict action. Now, in case this forthcoming declaration which these guys have given for carrying out rallies and all everywhere, I think Indian government is going to take quite a strict decision on that.
And it is a test for Justin Trudeau, especially considering he came out and made those comments today. We'll have to wait and watch what actually goes down on the 8th of July in all of these countries. But I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this broadcast. We are shifting focus to some breaking news that's coming in. And it is coming in here from the national capital where the NCP, the Sharad Pawar camp, in fact, is addressing a briefing. Let's cut across.
Is still intact and they are with Sri Sharad Pawar ji and with the NCP. In fact, 5 people, 5 state presidents wrote their letters in writing that letters were read out in the meeting. Rest of the presidents, PCC presidents were present. They are still sitting with Sri Sharad Pawar ji. All the state presidents were present also, barring these 5. These 5 people, they expressed their faith in the present national leadership and they gave us in writing. This committee today passed 8 resolutions. I want to briefly go through that. For your convenience, I will make it very brief. The Working Committee of the Nationalist Congress Party expresses its full faith and confidence in the Honorable President of NCP, Sri Sharad Pawar. This was the first resolution. This little, details I am not giving. The gist of the resolution I am giving. Then the resolution number 2 was the Working Committee of the Nationalist Congress Party approves the decision taken by the Honorable President Sri Sharad Pawar expelling Sri Prabhul Patel, Sri Sunil Tatkare and 9 NCP members of Maharashtra Legislative Assembly who have joined hands with NDA. This is very, very important in the sense that this action was taken when the working committee is not in session. Then their right to the working committee is with the president. So with that power, president has expelled them, and today the working committee, when met, ratified the decision taken by the president. So Prabhul Patel and Sunil Tatkare, one is a Rajya Sabha member and one is a Lok Sabha member, both of them along with 9 NCP MLAs in Maharashtra who joined the NDA government there. These people are expelled before, and this expulsion by the president was ratified by the working committee. The working committee, then I come to the next point, the working committee empowers the Honorable President to initiate necessary actions. Those who are acting against the political ethics, guidelines, principles, policies and ideology of the party and whose actions are detrimental to the interest of the party. We reiterated today that we are against the communal politics of BJP and we will fight to the core, fighting against the BJP and its communalism. Anybody who is compromising on these basic principles of the party, actions should be taken, action can be taken, action will be taken by the president. The committee wholeheartedly requested the president that anyone who violates the basic principles of the party and our belief in the anti-communal forces, anti-communal joint action, those who are against, action should be taken against them. The Working Committee of the Nationalist Congress Party expresses deep concern regarding the ongoing communal situation in Manipur, and the Nationalist Congress Party firmly stands with the people of Manipur. You all know that the state of Manipur is burning for the last many, many weeks. Unfortunately, there is no government, no central government. We stand firmly with the opposition. Unity of opposition was the idea first mooted by Sri Sharad Pawar 1 year back in the National Convention of the NCP itself. What is this? Please cooperate. In the National Convention of the NCP in Talkatora Stadium, first time Pawarji has given the clarion call to all parties in India anti-BJP parties to come together. So this idea was mooted that anti-BJP parties has to come together. Each party will have their own opinion on matters, but there has to be some compromise, and they have to come together on one issue, fighting BJP. So now it is picking up momentum, and there was 2 meetings, and the 3rd meeting is going to take place. This is an idea mooted by Pawarji, and we are strongly with the opposition parties on this fight against BJP, anti-BJP joint action of the opposition parties. The working committee ratifies the decision of the President to expel Sri Praful Patel, Sri Sunil Tatkare. This I have already told. Any of the National Committee, namely Central Disciplinary, Sri Praful Patel and Sri Sunil Tatkare were removed, and Sri S.R. Kohli, 3 people are prohibited by the working committee by a resolution for indulging in any of the state national committee matters, namely Central Disciplinary Committee and other committees. Any of the committees constituted under the constitution of the party earlier. These 2-3 people who are suspended, they are members of subcommittees also. So any of the committees constituted under the constitution of the party, these people are prohibited because they are suspended. Any of the trusts constituted under the constitution of the party. NCP has constituted different trusts in the national level and in some state level also. All these trusts, these people who are suspended cannot be in touch with any of these activities. They are barred from involving any of the activities of the trust formed by the party. Any of the responsibilities with powers and functions given by the party or the President. Casually, President authorizes these people to do some work as an assignment from the President's side. All such assignments given to these 3 people are hereby cancelled by our resolution in the party. We are quite happy and satisfied that the party, in spite of the fact that we had a very short notice, because we have served the notice only yesterday, and today the attendance was much better than the previous meetings, and
resolution की कॉपी आप लोगों को दी जाएगी, हाँ, सबको.
I will give you
attendance.
Yeah.
Working committee.
Out of the 12 members who are elected members, 7 members were present today. Rest of the members, barring the suspended members, gave their letters because they could not reach here. The letter was sent yesterday. Out of the permanent invitees, there are 15 members. Out of that, 10 people attended today's meeting, and barring the suspended people, rest of them gave us letter. So there is absolutely no problem as far as NCP is concerned as an organization. Whatever publicity somebody is trying to give, that is not affecting the NCP in any way. That is reiterated very firmly by the working committee today, along with the national problems, passing resolutions. We have decided to continue our fight against the communal politics headed by BJP. Now, these are the decisions taken.
Sir, any action on Ajit Pawar?
1 minute. 1 minute. Yes. There are 2 MPs and 9 MLAs. I said that. 9 MLAs include the name which you have said. 9 MLAs who became ministers in Maharashtra, and 2 MPs, Sunil Tatkare and Praful Patel, are the 11 people by name we have suspended. And Mr. Sarkozy. Yeah.
Right, disqualification.
9 members have been expelled.
1 minute. Point to point will come. चाको साहब ने आपको इंग्लिश में पूरी सारी चीजें बता दी हैं पूरे देश में. देश के 27 राज्यों ने माननीय पवार साहब के नेतृत्व में विश्वास व्यक्त किया है। 100% जो हमारी कमेटी है, नेशनल कमेटी है, उसने विश्वास व्यक्त किया है। 15 में कुछ लोग जो मंत्री बने हैं उनको सस्पेंड किया गया है, इसलिए वो संख्या आपको 15 के बजाय 10 दिखती है। बट दे आर सस्पेंडेड, दे हैव ज्वाइन, उन्होंने बीजेपी सरकार के साथ हाथ मिलाया हुआ है। पवार साहब को पूरी कमेटी ने ऑथराइज किया है कि देश में या राज्य में कहीं पर भी अगर कोई पार्टी के खिलाफ जाता है, पार्टी की पॉलिसी आइडियोलॉजी के खिलाफ जाता है, तो आपको उसे सस्पेंड करने का, एक्शन लेने का पूरा अधिकार राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी प्रदान करती है। जैसा आप जानते हैं, महाराष्ट्र के सारे लोग कहते थे कि पवार साहब हमारे दैवत हैं, दैवत मीन्स हमारे भगवान हैं, और जो लोग कल तक पवार साहब को अपना भगवान कहते थे, आज उन्होंने अपनी आइडियोलॉजी भी चेंज कर दी और अपना भगवान भी बदलने का काम किया है। इसलिए हम लोग इसकी भर्त्सना करते हैं, निंदा करते हैं, क्योंकि आप अपने जीवन में आइडियोलॉजी और अपना पिता, जो लोग पवार साहब को दैवत कहते थे, अपना पिता कहते थे, आज उन्होंने पिता बदलने का प्रयास किया है, आइडियोलॉजी को छोड़ा है। इसकी हम सब लोग निंदा करते हैं। हमारे और पवार साहब के नेतृत्व में पूरा देश, पार्टी में कोई स्प्लिट नहीं हुआ है। मैं स्पष्ट करना चाहता हूँ, विधानमंडल में कुछ एमएलए हमको छोड़ के गए हैं, वो वहाँ जो रिवल हुआ है डिप्टी सीएम जो अभी है अजित पवार जी के नेतृत्व में, लेकिन हमें विश्वास है कि आने वाले विधानसभा के चुनाव में पवार साहब के नेतृत्व में महाराष्ट्र में हम फिर से एक बार अपनी सरकार कांग्रेस एनसीपी और शिवसेना सरकार बनाने में सक्षम होगी। और एक बात स्पष्ट है कि पवार साहब के नेतृत्व में चलने वाली पार्टी कभी भी कम्युनिज्म के साथ, वो जो है धर्मनिरपेक्षता के साथ कोई समझौता नहीं करेगी। हम विकास के मुद्दे पे लड़ेंगे, देश के जो अनेकता में एकता है उसको बनाए रखेंगे। और इन्हीं बातों के साथ मैं खत्म करता हूँ और साथ को लेता हूँ।
क्या कर रहे हैं? Don't touch the mic.
So please keep the silence.
हो गया भाई, हो गया।
Okay. अभी हाँ, आई स्मोकिंग ना।
The hand mic is not working, please. Please be silent. One question.
आप लोगों ने ठाकुर साहब ने डिटेल बताया होगा कि आज की मीटिंग में क्या हो गया। मुझे खुशी है कि वानराज जिन लोगों को एक्सप्लेन किया वो छोड़कर बाकी सब लोग इतने शॉर्ट नोटिस में मीटिंग के लिए आए थे। उनका हौसला अच्छा है।
माइक हौसला नॉट रनिंग।
उनका हौसला अच्छा था और पार्टी को खेद हंसाने का काम कुछ साथियों ने किया। इससे फिर मजबूती से पार्टी को खड़ा करना, आगे ले जाना और अच्छी स्थिति पर लाना, ये मानसिकता हमारे सभी साथियों की थी। और इसलिए मुझे खुशी है कि एक आज की मीटिंग हमें हमारा हौसला बढ़ाने के लिए बहुत मददगार हो गई। इससे मैं कोई ज़्यादा बोलना नहीं चाहता। जो कोई डिसीजन हम लोगों ने लिए ये आप लोगों को शायद बताए होंगे आपको कुछ सवाल पूछना हो तो यू कैन आस्क मी इफ यू वांट एनी क्वेश्चन।
एक मिनट
किया गया है ऐसा दावा है।
हाँ, प्रशांत
अजीत पवार को नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट नियुक्त किया है 30 तारीख को।
किसी ने कुछ कहा मुझे मालूम नहीं। आपको मुझे एक बात पक्की है कि राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी का मैं प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। दूसरा किसी ने अपने नाम पर स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, कुछ बात कही, तो बात कह सकते हैं, इसमें कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं, कोई सच्चाई नहीं।
सर ये स्टेटमेंट जारी किया गया है, कहा गया है कि आज आपने जो मीटिंग बुलाई वर्किंग कमेटी की, इसके पास कोई लीगल सैंक्टिटी नहीं है, क्योंकि अजीत पवार नए प्रेसिडेंट है और इसके अलावा जो भी मीटिंग होगी सब डिस्प्यूट में है, आधिकारिक नहीं है।
ठीक है, कुछ भी कह सकते हैं, इसमें कोई सच्चाई नहीं है। ये जो वर्किंग कमेटी की मीटिंग है, अथॉरिटी एज पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हुई है, किसी ने कुछ कहा होगा, इससे कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं।
My question to you is about one at a time about opposition unity, sir, and the fact that you are going to meet in Bangalore on the 17th, 18th. The fact that the MBA now is under threat. Uddhav Thackeray as well as you have been diminished by the BJP in terms of things. Diminished means they have broken your party.
Suppose some people left your party, goes to some other side. It's not happen in political party, but doesn't say denies of this or that. As I said, we will that party.
Let her, please.
अजीत पवार ने आप पर पर्सनल अटैक करके आपकी उम्र पर सवाल उठाया है, चाहे आप इस्तीफा देते हैं तो इस्तीफा वापस नहीं लेते हैं। जनरल शरद पवार को इस तरह के पर्सनल अटैक पर आप क्या कहेंगे? आप 82 साल के हो गए।
Now I work more effectively. Whether 82 or 92.
पवार सर हिंदी में आपने एक्सप्लेन करके उनको डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन के से बचाया, ऐसे नहीं आपको लगता है?
नहीं,
पवार सर सवाल यह है कि 1 minute, 1 question from the last. पवार सर, आप लोगों ने कैविएट दाखिल किया चुनाव आयोग में, अब किस आधार पर लड़ाई लड़ेंगे चुनाव आयोग में? दूसरा सवाल है कि जब शिंदे ग्रुप अपनी लड़ाई शिवसेना की तरफ से लड़ रहे थे तो उनका आधार माना गया था विधायकों की संख्या को। क्या आपने जो भी घोषणाएं संगठन को लेकर की है उसकी जानकारी पहले से चुनाव आयोग को बताई थी? क्या क्या आधार?
बात यह है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जस्टिस चंद्रचूड़ इनका जो जजमेंट है, इस जजमेंट में उन्होंने कहा है कि एमएलए, इनकी स्ट्रेंथ, इनका नंबर, ये फिगर करेगा, ये मेजर इशू नहीं है। उन्होंने ये कहा कि पॉलिटिकल party got more power and they got every right to take appropriate steps. In fact, political party not every.
Come on.
मैं भी मुख्यमंत्री बनना चाहता हूँ,
कोई भी कुछ चाहते तो मुझे इससे कोई मतलब नहीं। किसी को प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनना हो, किसी को डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनना हो, किसी को चीफ मिनिस्टर बनना हो, किसी को आर्मी चीफ बनना हो, वो चाहते हैं। चलिए, मेरी शुभकामनाएं।
चुनाव आयोग या सुप्रीम कोर्ट का दरवाजा आप लोग खटखटाएंगे? चुनाव आयोग पे तो मामला पहुंच गया है, क्या अगला कदम सुप्रीम कोर्ट का दरवाजा?
ये बात ऐसी है कि हमारा विश्वास चुनाव आयोग पर है। हम जो हमें कुछ कहना है उनको चुनाव आयोग के सामने जाएंगे, मगर जो लीगल पोजीशन है ये नज़रअंदाज करने के बाद कहीं भी डिसीजन होगा तो हम फिर दूसरी कौन सी अथॉरिटी है वहाँ जाने के बारे में सोचेंगे, मगर ये नौबत आएगी ऐसे मुझे लगता नहीं।
अजीत पवार ने ये भी कहा था
1 minute.
आपने बात किया।
One question from backbench. Yes, tell me.
वर्षा, come on.
Tell.
3 तारीख की चिट्ठी है जो अजीत पवार को कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष बनाने की चिट्ठी है, वो 30 तारीख का साइन किया हुआ है, वो 5 तारीख को चुनाव आयोग पहुंचता है। आपकी चिट्ठी 30 तारीख को ईमेल से भेजी गई है, 30 तारीख को पहुंचती है। इससे क्या कहेंगे? क्या ये
चिट्ठी के बारे में चुनाव आयोग तय करेगा। मुझे मालूम है इस देश में इंफॉर्मेशन पेपर यहाँ से वहाँ जाने के लिए 5 दिन लगते हैं, कि मुझे मालूम नहीं। ठीक है, जो क्रिया होगा वो चुनाव आयोग इस बारे में तय करेगा।
अजीत पवार कह रहे थे, उन्होंने आज भी कहा कि 2/3 मेजोरिटी हमारे पास है, शरद साहब के पास दिखाने के लिए कोई मेजोरिटी नहीं है, इसलिए इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी कल दरवाजा खटखटाया है। तो
देखेंगे ना, अभी कल टाइम आएगा, इसमें सच्चाई क्या है ये देखने के लिए, चाहे 2/3 हो या चाहे कुछ हो। एक बात है, हमें पूरा विश्वास है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन वहाँ ठीक तरह से निर्णय लेगा। और दूसरी बात यह है, जहाँ तक लोगों का समर्थन है, वहाँ क्या स्थिति है उस राज्य में मैं जानता हूँ। मैंने कुछ डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक विजिट दे दिया। जिस तरह से खास तौर पर नौजवान एक तरह का समर्थन आज हम लोगों को मिल रहा है, इससे मुझे पूरा विश्वास और खुशी है।
It was Satara and Sharad. It was Satara and Sharad district. After defection, Pawar साहब बोल रहे हैं।
अजीत पवार के साथ है, ऐसे में क्या आपके साथ और विधायक आएंगे जो बाद में कुछ विधायक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, क्या उनका समर्थन आपके साथ है?
आपको पता लगेगा कुछ नहीं होगा, इसमें क्या बदलाव हो रहा है।
इस तरह से ईडी और सीबीआई के आरोप होते हैं और बाद में लोग जो अपना नेतृत्व है उसको छोड़ के अदर पार्टी में चले जाते, नई पार्टी बनाते, इस तरह से कितनी पार्टियां देश में छूटेगी?
ये मुझे मालूम नहीं, मगर ये बात सच है कि आज सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व में चलने वाला अपोजिशन को दबाव डालने के लिए, वीक करने के लिए ईडी, सीबीआई और सेंट्रल एजेंसी इसका इस्तेमाल जगह जगह पर कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, और 10 महीने 11 महीने बाकी है, इसके बाद चुनाव होगा और स्थिति देश की बदलेगी, तो इसमें क्या सुधार करने की आवश्यकता है, इस पर हमारी टॉप प्रायोरिटी रहेगी। एक बार मौका
आप लीजिए संदीप।
एक नाथ शिंदे की कैंप में बेचैनी है, कुछ ऐसा लग रहा है कि उनको हटा दिया जाएगा मुख्यमंत्री पद से, ऐसी खबरें आ रही हैं। आपको लगता है, आपने कहा 3 महीने में पिक्चर बदल जाएगी?
ये ऐसा कुछ वहाँ हो रहा है स्टेज पर, मेरे पास नहीं, आपके पास हो तो ये प्राइवेट कीजिए।
राजकर्त्यांनी उद्धव ठाकरे एकत्र येतील अशी चर्चा आणि होल्डिंग लागतायत महाराष्ट्रामध्ये।
चांगली गोष्ट आहे।
कुछ जगहों पर
even in the run-up to the Rajasthan elections.
Yes, and but you know, based on how the Congress party won the Karnataka election, because if you remember initially, of course, there was fight between DK Kumar and Siddaramaiah, and remember a similar sort of a meeting was done in the national capital here, where Rahul Gandhi, where Mallikarjun Kharge intervened and said that until and unless we are not united, we will not be able to defeat the BJP in Karnataka, and because of the win that happened with the united front that has in fact been put up by DK Kumar and Siddaramaiah till the end of the elections, perhaps that is why they won, is what the Congress party believes, and a similar strategy needs to be followed not just in Rajasthan but also in Chhattisgarh. That is probably why last week we have seen how the infighting, though it is not that out in open when it comes to Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singh Dio, but there have in fact been war of words as far as the CM and the Deputy Chief Minister post is concerned, and to put all these gossips and fight at rest, the High Command decided to make T.S. Singh Dio the Deputy Chief Minister. But when it comes to Rajasthan, it has always been very complicated for the Congress party. But here also they want to make sure that with the campaign mode, with party going into the campaign mode, with candidates going to be selected by the first week of September, they want to ensure that there are no infighting and wants to make sure that none of these leaders go out and make statements, because this has happened time and again in Rajasthan, where we have seen Ashok Gehlot coming out and attacking Sachin Pilot going and sitting on a dharna against Ashok Gehlot government, his own government. So clearly that needs to first of all stop, and accordingly a decision to resolve that what is going to be the next responsibility that will be given to Sachin Pilot is something that is, of course, we are being told by our sources that probably by today evening or tomorrow, a decision on that will also be taken. But as far as this meeting was concerned, this was solely on the strategy of the elections for the upcoming Rajasthan elections. That was done. But as far as the responsibility for Sachin Pilot is concerned, there could be a separate meeting, there could be a separate release or a statement where it will be made clear that what is the responsibility that is going to be given to Sachin Pilot and whether he will be sufficed with that, whether he will be okay with that. Apart from that, he has also made three demands. One is, of course, investigation on the former...
Right. Thank you, Sharon, for getting us the latest from the Congress camp. Now, the West Bengal Panchayat polls are on July 8th, and the political temperature remains high in the state. Today is the last day of campaigning. Security has been tightened in the state, considering that violence that has killed more than 12 people ahead of the polls continues unabated. On Wednesday, fresh violence was reported in the Nadia district between CPM and TMC workers. Several security personnel were injured during the clashes. Right, so that is the latest coming in from the state of West Bengal, ladies and gentlemen. What we are seeing over there is the violence continuing unabated in the state of West Bengal right ahead of the Panchayat elections. Now we're getting a piece of breaking news. And West Bengal Governor Ananda Bose takes aim at Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. He blames the State Election Commission for the killings that have taken place in the run-up to the Panchayat elections. Let's listen in.
Bangore, Basandi, Kuch Bihar, Murshidabad, Purulia. Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for this? Who is the killer? Will the State Election Commissioner SEC please raise his hand? Will the SEC please raise his hand? You should know who are the killers. You are the custodian of the lives of people during election. My constitutional appointee, you have failed, in my opinion, in your duty. You have failed the people. You are responsible for the corpses that fell on the streets.
And with that reaction, the TMC has now hit out at the governor, claiming he used the label of governor to go around filling the shoes of a BJP agent. That is the pitch coming in from TMC leader Kunal Ghosh. He says, why did he need to do a press conference calling out the TMC? That isn't his job. Let's listen.
রাজ্যপালের নামে সিভি আনন্দ বোস যে কাজটা করলেন, বিজেপির দালাল, বিজেপির এজেন্ট, আজ ভোটের রাজনৈতিক দলগুলির প্রচারের শেষ দিন। সেই প্রচারের শেষ দিনে উনি বিজেপির দালালি করে আর বিরোধীদের হয়ে প্রচার করে উনি প্রমাণ করে দিলেন যে উনি রাজনীতিই করছেন। রাজ্যপালের তো কাজ আছে, রাজ্যপালের কাজ প্রেস কনফারেন্স করে রাজনীতির বক্তৃতা দেওয়া নয়।
And I'm joined by Kamalika Sen Gupta on the broadcast. Kamalika, the war of words only escalating between the two sides, with the TMC taking a direct shot at the governor just a couple of days to go for the Panchayat elections in West Bengal.
It's day after tomorrow the Panchayat polls will take place, and today is the last day of campaign. So, though it's a Panchayat poll, but the political temperature is soaring high here, and it seems that it's not less than a Vidhan Sabha poll. Now, we have in one side the BJP, TMC, Congress, they are there. But this time, governor is also overtly active. That's what we are seeing. He has opened up peace room. He has mobile rapid action post-room, and he also is, if you remember that film Nayak, he's coming out, he's, calling on shots, and he totally did a press conference where the Honorable Governor actually asked that, actually expressed his views about the State Election Commission, stating that he has failed in the entire system. And the State Election Commission is responsible for all the killings.
Pallavi, when it comes to the tussle between Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, is the Congress still at the drawing board?
Well, I think the big news point which comes out are two main actually. One, of course, is that there will be no CM face announced. Ayushman, that's really the trend always. The Congress party usually doesn't announce a CM face. In the case of Punjab, of course, we saw them under pressure make a difference, and we saw what a disastrous experiment that was. So in this case, they are playing it safe, and he makes it very, very clear we are not going to be announcing a CM candidate. And
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 and I'm Poonam Burde. Let's get you some breaking news that's now coming in, and this is about India's third lunar mission. Chandrayaan 3 is all set to take off. We now have the details. It is going to take place. The launch is in fact going to take place on the 14th of this month, in just a few days from now. Ritu, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details of what exactly we are expecting and where are we in the preparation stage. Yes, Ritu.
Well, exactly. It's a big announcement coming in from the ISRO, most awaited now, because the ISRO has now announced that it will be on July 14 that the mission will be launched, the Chandrayaan 3 after all. So it is built at a cost of around 615 crores, and it's India's third lunar mission, which is aiming to achieve a successful landing of the lander on the moon surface as we know it. So yes, the Chandrayaan 3 mission will carry a scientific instrument to the moon in order to study its thermophysical properties, lunar seismicity as well, lunar surface plaza, environment, and other information that this mission will aim to provide those information to our scientists and to understand in a better way. But now we are getting to see a lot of support also pouring in for this ISRO scientists and all that. We can see the netizens are all congratulating the ISRO and saying that how India stands united and they are behind them to go ahead with this mission. So that's the kind of excitement that is there right now that we can see. But yes, it's a crucial mission that will be taking place on July 14.
Absolutely. 14 July to 35 p.m. and CNN News 18 is going to be your destination to watch that launch and the significance of it. For the moment, Ritu, thank you so much for getting us the details on that. We are quickly shifting focus now to a CNN News 18 super exclusive. It's our investigation that talks about the influx of illegal migrants into Jharkhand, into India. They're all coming in from Bangladesh. There seems to be a deliberate attempt to change the demographic structure of the state. It's starting with certain districts like Sahibganj and Pakur, but other districts are not too far away. That alarm has been sounded by none other than the Jharkhand police. Unfortunately, the district administration and the Jharkhand state government seems to be in denial. But we here on CNN News 18 are investigating on ground what exactly the issue is. Let's take you across to one of those aspects that's now coming in. A lot of these tribals are now losing their land. These are Santhal tribals that have been settling there for decades together, for centuries perhaps, and yet they now are at a loss as far as their land goes because encroachment is taking place at a fast-paced manner. Encroachment which is being completely ignored by the local administration, by the police. But the alarm has now been sounded. CNN News 18 was on ground there in Jharkhand, listening to what he had to say, and the people that live there listening to what they had to say.
बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं हमारे कास्ट के लोग जो हैं उनकी ज़मीन पे भी काफ़ी सारे अवैध कब्जा हुआ है। ये किसी न किसी रूप से हुआ है, या कोई जमाई बन के कर ले, या कुछ शादी का प्रलोभन देकर कर ले, या कोई दूसरा स्वार्थ देकर कर ले, लेकिन कब्जा वहाँ पर हमारे संथाल ट्राइब की ज़मीन पे काफ़ी कब्जा हुई है।
Kabza ho raha hai was what the testimony of this particular person was that we spoke to, and that is what many others also told us here on CNN News 18. Listen in to what the MLA of this region had to say. He has been raising alarms as well, multiple occasions. He too knows there is an issue and that needs to be looked into. Unfortunately, his pleas too falling on deaf ears.
विधानसभा में इस बात को उठाया था कि आप पता करिए कि वहाँ धार्मिक स्थल कैसे बन रहा है, लेकिन सरकार गोल मटोल जवाब दे करके अपना इतिश्री समझ ले रही है। तो कहीं न कहीं ये तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति के कारण इस प्रकार का खेल चल रहा है।
Now, there are multiple facets to the CNN News 18 investigation. We've spoken to the stakeholders, not just to the members of parliament, not just to MLAs, not just to the people who are losing their land. We've also spoken to the people that have now made this particular district their home. We spoke to one such dhaba owner who also had to tell us there are a lot of people that are coming in, a lot of people who are not natives, who do not speak the native tongue. Listen in to this investigation. Saurabh Rathore, my colleague, joining us live. He's the one who's traveled to these particular districts in Pakur and Sahibganj in Jharkhand, where we are seeing the influx of these illegal migrants. Saurabh, the red line, the alarm has been sounded by the police themselves. Why do we still have then the MLAs, the members of parliament there, the state government in complete denial?
It's all about appeasement politics. Nobody wants to lose their vote bank, and we know that the demographic change is actually taking place on ground, as we have reported from several districts, not one or two. The whole Santhal Pargana area is witnessing demographic change, and there is slight in some districts there is slight change in Muslim population, and in some districts there is drastic change. As we have seen in Pakur and Sahibganj, there is a change of 40% in the last census. If we compare 2001 and 2011, Pakur had seen 42% rise in Muslim population, and in Sahibganj 37% rise. Whereas on the other hand, if Santhal tribe population is concerned, only 10 and 19% are the increase in both the districts. So there is a consistent demographic change, and remember, this is the census data of 2011 and 2001. So the last census was 12 years back. So imagine the kind of establishment of madrasas and institutions that are taking place right now. Various complaints of land grabbing is coming to the police stations. Although we tried to get more official statement, but nobody was ready to speak on that. But there were several complainants who are saying that their lands are getting grabbed by some of the outsiders who are coming in and settling there. They are getting their identity cards made as according to the paper that we had of the special branch. It clearly mentions the modus operandi, where it says that illegal migrants are illegal infiltrators are coming in Pakur from Bengal side, and they are settling in Madarsa first, getting their identity cards made, and after that they mingle into the population. The next step is Poonam, to grab lands to marry tribal girls. There are several cases of marriages of tribal women to Muslim men, and remember, not just marrying, the tribal women are made to contest elections at the panchayat levels. They are made mukhias, parshads, chairmen, and those blocks. These are the new blocks that were created. Around 8 blocks were created in recent years because of the rise in population. The tribals are made to marry to Muslim, and then they are contested elections. They win.
So there are multiple ways in which this entire racket is running. We already have census data from 2011, from 12 years ago, which points to exactly this influx. God knows how worse it has gotten in the last 12 years. But for the moment, Saurabh, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that exclusive investigation. With that, it's the time for me on this edition of Nation at 5. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Is going to be after elections, so thereby the hint also goes that Congress is going to come back to power. In that, the hint, it's clear-cut reach out to Sachin Pilot's demand that on the paper leak case, nothing has been done by the Gehlot government to take action against Vasundhara Raje Scindia.
Right. I'm also joined by Sharon Elizabeth on the broadcast. Thank you, Sharon. When it comes to the tussle between the two big faces of Rajasthan, when it comes to the Congress party, Ashok Gehlot as well as Sachin Pilot, K.C. Venugopal just said that everyone should follow party discipline. If someone steps out of line, action will be taken. But if we look at what Sachin Pilot's been doing for all these weeks, he has not followed the party line. At the same time, he's openly hit out at Ashok Gehlot. That resolution seems to be far from over, even in the run-up to the Rajasthan elections.
Yes, and but based on how the Congress party won the Karnataka election, because if you remember initially, of course, there was fight between Shiv Kumar and Siddaramaiah, and remember a similar sort of a meeting was done in the national capital here, where Rahul Gandhi, where Mallikarjun Kharge intervened and said that until and unless we are not united, we will not be able to defeat the BJP in Karnataka, and because of the win that happened with the united front that has in fact been put up by Shiv Kumar and Siddaramaiah till the end of the elections, perhaps that is why they won, is what the Congress party believes, and a similar strategy needs to be followed not just in Rajasthan but also in Chhattisgarh. That is probably why last week we have seen how the infighting, though it is not that out in open when it comes to Bhupesh Baghel and T.S. Singh Dio, but there have in fact been war of words as far as the CM and the Deputy Chief Minister post is concerned, and to put all these gossips and fight at rest, the High Command decided to make T.S. Singh Dio the Deputy Chief Minister. But when it comes to Rajasthan, it has always been very complicated for the Congress party. But here also they want to make sure that with the campaign mode, with party going into the campaign mode, with candidates going to be selected by the first week of September, they want to ensure that there are no infighting and wants to make sure that none of these leaders go out and make statements, because this has happened time and again in Rajasthan, where we have seen Ashok Gehlot coming out and attacking Sachin Pilot going and sitting on a dharna against Ashok Gehlot government, his own government. So clearly that needs to first of all stop, and accordingly a decision to resolve that what is going to be the next responsibility that will be given to Sachin Pilot is something that is, of course, we are being told by our sources that probably by today evening or tomorrow, a decision on that will also be taken. But as far as this meeting was concerned, this was solely on the strategy of the elections for the upcoming Rajasthan elections. That was done. But as far as the responsibility for Sachin Pilot is concerned, there could be a separate meeting, there could be a separate release or a statement where it will be made clear that what is the responsibility that is going to be given to Sachin Pilot and whether he will be sufficed with that, whether he will be okay with that. Apart from that, he has also made three demands. One is, of course, investigation on the former...
Right. Thank you, Sharon, for getting us the latest from the Congress camp. Now, the West Bengal Panchayat polls are on July 8th, and the political temperature remains high in the state. Today is the last day of campaigning. Security has been tightened in the state, considering that violence that has killed more than 12 people ahead of the polls continues unabated. On Wednesday, fresh violence was reported in the Nadia district between CPM and TMC workers. Several security personnel were injured during the clashes. Right, so that is the latest coming in from the state of West Bengal, ladies and gentlemen. What we are seeing over there is the violence continuing unabated in the state of West Bengal right ahead of the Panchayat elections. Now we're getting a piece of breaking news. And West Bengal Governor Ananda Bose takes aim at Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. He blames the State Election Commission for the killings that have taken place in the run-up to the Panchayat elections. Let's listen in.
Bangore, Basandi, Kuch Bihar, Murshidabad, Purulia. Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for this? Who is the killer? Will the State Election Commissioner SEC please raise his hand? Will the SEC please raise his hand? You should know who are the killers. You are the custodian of the lives of people during election. My constitutional appointee, you have failed, in my opinion, in your duty. You have failed the people. You are responsible for the corpses that fell on the streets.
And with that reaction, the TMC has now hit out at the governor, claiming he used the label of governor to go around filling the shoes of a BJP agent. That is the pitch coming in from TMC leader Kunal Ghosh. He says, why did he need to do a press conference calling out the TMC? That isn't his job. Let's listen.
রাজ্যপালের নামে সিভি আনন্দ বোস যে কাজটা করলেন, বিজেপির দালাল, বিজেপির এজেন্ট, আজ ভোটের রাজনৈতিক দলগুলির প্রচারের শেষ দিন। সেই প্রচারের শেষ দিনে উনি বিজেপির দালালি করে আর বিরোধীদের হয়ে প্রচার করে উনি প্রমাণ করে দিলেন যে উনি রাজনীতিই করছেন। রাজ্যপালের তো কাজ আছে, রাজ্যপালের কাজ প্রেস কনফারেন্স করে রাজনীতির বক্তৃতা দেওয়া নয়।
And I'm joined by Kamalika Sen Gupta on the broadcast. Kamalika, the war of words only escalating between the two sides, with the TMC taking a direct shot at the governor just a couple of days to go for the Panchayat elections in West Bengal.
It's day after tomorrow the Panchayat polls will take place, and today is the last day of campaign. So, though it's a Panchayat poll, but the political temperature is soaring high here, and it seems that it's not less than a Vidhan Sabha poll. Now, we have in one side the BJP, TMC, Congress, they are there. But this time, governor is also overtly active. That's what we are seeing. He has opened up peace room. He has mobile rapid action force room. And he also is, if you remember that film Nayak, he's coming out.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Sonia. Top focus this hour is a piece of breaking news coming in. You'd remember the political stalemate that has panned out in the state of Maharashtra, especially the vertical split that we have seen in the NCP. And Sharad Pawar has a meeting with Rahul Gandhi right now. Rahul Gandhi has met Sharad Pawar. The visuals on your screen right now amidst the political huddle in which Mr. Sharad Pawar has found himself. I want to cut across quickly to my colleague Siddhant for some perspective on the story. Siddhant, what more details?
Yes, that's right. So a short while back, Sharad Pawar was addressing a press conference at his official residence in New Delhi, and behind me you could see that meeting between Rahul Gandhi and Sharad Pawar is going on right now. The time Sharad Pawar concluded that press conference, we saw the convoy of Rahul Gandhi entering Sharad Pawar's residence. So perhaps it was kind of a surprise for people from journalist fraternity present here to cover Sharad Pawar's press conference. Very unexpected. Nobody expected this to happen.
Yeah.
But then again, the idea of calling National Executive in New Delhi was to give a message to the opposition party also, because Mr. Pawar has been projecting himself as somebody instrumental in getting opposition parties together, and that was an idea to hold
Siddhant,
National Executive here.
Is that meeting over, or that meeting is still going on? What transpired in the meeting? Do we have any details?
Well, meeting is still going on, and as I was mentioning, it was also to do messaging for the opposition parties, because they should not doubt Sharad Pawar's intention, because he was somebody who was instrumental in bringing opposition parties together, and he still talks about opposition unity. So by expelling Ajit Pawar, Praful Patel, others, and also by taking action on other MLAs who have joined NDA, Sharad Pawar has given clear message to the